There's a village in India which doesn't exist on paper. And yet, for the first time since independence, the village will vote. Across the border in China, author William Dalrymple reveals the fascinating journey of the only woman emperor of China and her special connection to India. Then there's the story of 15 youngsters who died trying to nail India's greatest dream, a government job. On this episode of Eyewitness, we bring to you these incredible stories told like never before. In this sleepy village in Maharashtra, change is afoot. The place that has never existed on India's map now has a polling booth. Intrigued? Let's take a look.
These government officials are heading to a village that doesn't exist on paper, but will vote for the very first time. It's not a scam, just a very twisted story of a village that got shunted between two states and was left without power and rights.
We are at Wagdari village, which is in Nanded district, Marathwada region of Maharashtra. Wagdari village is not yet on the revenue map of Maharashtra.
What it means is that though residents have lived here for generations, in government records, Wagdari does not exist. Located in the hilly terrain on the Telangana-Maharashtra border, the village of 300 residents is stuck between a past that was associated with the Nizam and a present that's still to take off.
Earlier, this village used to be in the Taluka of Kinwat, and Taluka Kinwat was before 1950 with Adilabad. It was in the Nizam Shahi. So, all the records of this village are with Adilabad.
After the state's reorganization, the village came to Maharashtra from a united Andhra Pradesh. During this transition, though, no official map of the village was drawn, though people lived here. It was only recently that a comprehensive survey of the village was conducted using drones, and the village map was drawn. The official proposal to recognize it as a village has been submitted to the government this year. Without that crucial piece of paper, all kinds of complications follow. Without land revenue records, they can't get roads, bore wells, crop insurance, or government subsidies. They are not eligible for compensation when wild animals destroy their crops.
असं झोळी करून नेते
चोली करून येते.
माणसं मागून पुढून गडी घेते
हो.
आतमध्ये टाकून नेते पाणी आणि आमच्या अगोदर शेताचं करा सातबारी भेटली द्या आम्हाला तर काहीतरी होईल
आणि
आमचं लय परेशानी आहे ना रस्ते नाही जायला आणि आम्हाला जनावर खूप सतवते असं शेतातून येता येत नाही.
Consider this. The nearest tarred road from this village is a 3-hour walk. Their own Gram Panchayat is 35 kilometers away. Drinking water supply is a pipe dream, and the only education available is a single-room school up to class 4. So even though there is nothing remarkable about this Anganwadi center in the village, the freshly painted lettering is a major achievement and a big sign of hope. It announces that this is a polling center for the upcoming Maharashtra Assembly polls. On the 20th of November, when Maharashtra votes, 190 eligible voters from this village will be able to vote without enduring the 10-kilometer, hours-long trek that they normally undertook in previous elections. It's taken more than 7 decades for a polling booth to come to their village. But residents hope this will be the first step that will finally get them what they've always wanted: official recognition, so that they are counted and their voices are heard.
The woman who took power into her own hands as China's only female emperor had Indian help. Watch William Dalrymple uncover the story of Wu Zetian and the Indian monks who put her on the throne.
She brings India and China closer than they have ever been before and than they will ever be again. She becomes the only woman in whatever it is, 3,000 years of Chinese dynastic history, to take power as emperor in her own right. I knew that I'd hit the jackpot when I discovered the story of Wu Zetian. She's a well-known figure in China, incidentally, and there's something like a 250-part soap opera about her, which you can look up online. As this very beautiful woman playing the empress, because she's this extraordinary figure. She was a Buddhist, and she allies with Xuanzang, who we know as the monk that came to Nalanda. There's a statue of him at Nalanda today. And in Bodh Gaya, there's another statue of him. And this extraordinary alliance is made between these two Buddhists. On one hand, this wizened old monk who's walked across Asia, come back with all these manuscripts, a scholar, a monk, celibate. And on the other hand, this girl who's, at the beginning of the story, is 15 years old, a fifth-ranked concubine in the harem of Taizong, the first Tang emperor. And this woman rises first to a first-ranking concubine, then to empress, and then to emperor in her own right. When Gaizong, her husband, dies, she becomes the only woman in whatever it is, 3,000 years of Chinese dynastic history, to take power, not as dowager empress, not as consort, but as emperor in her own right. And she affects what's effectively a Mahayana Buddhist coup d'etat, putting in Nalanda alumni into the key positions of power in the court in Chang'an. So it's a story, again, which I think very few people here know. It's a well-known story in China, but not here. And the fact that she brings in Indians. The reason that there are no other women emperors is that Confucian ideology forbids it. You cannot be a woman emperor in Confucian ideology. She gets rid of the Confucians and brings in all these Indian Buddhists who announce that she's the reincarnation of Maitreya, that she's been promised in all these prophecies, and they build this whole new town to Maitreya, and people come up with a million omens showing that she's the result of divine will and all the rest of it. And she's a complete operator, and leaves a trail of dead bodies behind her. But she brings India and China closer than they have ever been before, and than they will ever be again. There's a certain amount of rollback after she loses power. At the very end of her life, her son takes over, and the Confucians are brought back, and the Taoists are brought back.
3 months ago, a recruitment test turned deadly for 15 youngsters. They were running, quite literally, for an excise constable's job. What went wrong? Who was responsible? And how much did the government give their families in exchange for their lives?
हम 7:30 बजे बात किए. उस समय तक वो ठीक था. मेरी छोटी वाली बहन वही है, तो सुबह में जब गई तो बोला गया कि नहीं है.
Shraddha's brother Vikas Linda was not the only victim. 14 more died during the Jharkhand Excise Constable recruitment drive. From all accounts, it should have been like any other recruitment exam, an endurance test that included a 10-kilometer run to be completed in an hour. So what made this a killer run that took the lives of 15 aspiring constables? That's right, 15 candidates who were part of the Jharkhand Excise Constables recruitment drive died during the endurance run. Were they grossly unfit, severely underprepared, or was there something patently wrong with the way the recruitment drive was conducted? Months after these needless deaths, their families are nowhere close to finding out the answers to these questions.
जीराबाद से 10 किलोमीटर रोड डेली कूदने के लिए जाता था, दौड़ के भी वहां से आता था.
So what exactly happened? Police say these are exhaustion-triggered deaths caused by cardiac arrests. For the men, it was a 10-kilometer run that they had to complete in an hour. For women, it was a 5-kilometer run in 40 minutes. And how fast does one need to run to make it in good time? Men would have to cover 1 kilometer in 6 minutes to finish the run comfortably. Women would get 2 minutes more to finish each kilometer to maintain a speed of 7.5 km per hour. It was an uphill task, especially in the August heat when temperatures touch 40 degrees Celsius and humidity makes it even more energy sapping. Worse, the recruitment drive continued even as more aspirants died. It was only after 12 candidates had died that the government finally pulled the plug on the exercise, 11 days after the first death was reported. Experts say inadequate preparation, lack of proper hydration, and medical consultation could be the major reasons behind the deaths. The government tweaked the parameters and the test resumed after 3 days. By the time the recruitment drive wrapped up on September 21st, 3 more had died. In all, 15 aspirants, all in the age group of 18 to 30, collapsed in the punishing heat. The only action taken so far is the compensation given to the families and ordering a probe that has not yet come up with a satisfactory answer.
सरकार हम लोग को दिया था 4 लाख मुआवजा राशि 4 लाख मुआवजा राशि में क्या होगा कि
When it comes to getting justice, the families are no closer to finding out who's responsible either. With Jharkhand in the midst of an election, you might think the investigation would be fast-tracked. Far from it. While the BJP blames the government for negligence, Soren's JMM points the finger at the BJP for setting the parameters for the recruitment drive, leaving the families with nothing more than constant reminders of their loved ones and broken promises.